Before I worked together, I was very heartbroken and lost. I also had been involved in a relationship for some time, so I felt like I was honestly embarrassed about talking to my friends anymore about it. Because sometimes relationships just they change. They go from being something positive and having normal troubles to becoming something that is a trouble relationship. And there is a time where personally I felt ashamed of even sharing this. Sometimes you need to realize that you are involved in a relationship that has very unhealthy undertones, and you kind of feel lonely because your friends don't want to listen to you, or you feel embarrassed about even talking about it. So I knew that I wanted to have support, and I was feeling lonely and overwhelmed, and I also wanted a good information on the karmatic side, on the spiritual side. I wanted to understand why. I mean, I feel like the reason I found you was twin flames, and then it's like when we put like spiritual labels to relationships, sometimes a part of us feel like those are relationships that were meant to be with for the rest of our lives. Because how many times are you going to feel the way you do with this person? So it can kind of work against and to our favor. In some ways it can give us some enlightenment about what's going on, but in some ways also make us feel like we want to make it work even if it's not meant to work. So I wanted to find helping me to understand what was next. After working with you, I felt in a much more clear space. I felt like I knew there were things, we talked about things that were not my initial expectation. You know, like we ended up talking about my mother, we ended up talking about my family, we ended up talking about how things affected my childhood. And honestly, when I looked for a coach about twin flames, I was not expecting to end up to talk about my mother. So basically, I felt like I was having a coach that also would have a clear understanding of spiritual connections. And I felt like that was the perfect marriage for me. I felt supportive. I felt like I had somebody who had my back, who had been there, and who was kind but not afraid to sometimes look at my relationship and say, hey, you know what, this is actually not really healthy and good for you. And that is something that I liked, because something that I don't really like about therapy is that many times we talk for hours and hours and hours, and we kind of need to find out things on our own. The therapist doesn't label them or anything. And I kind of don't like that much. I like to know what's going on and let me do research and learn about it and see what I can do. Whereas, and with you, I feel like I had that, somebody who was willing to give me information about things that I could change and understand and learn right there. I find your work to be a marriage between a therapist that gives you action steps and somebody that is a spiritual advisor, somebody who is very knowledgeable about other lives, past lives, karmatic relationships, all that spiritual, I don't know what is the word, the spiritual world. So you see how basically relationships can be a tool to also heal other things that happen, and how the two can be connected. Whereas if you go to a normal therapist, you know, basically you're going to be doing work for a year, and maybe with you, we can do it in 2 months. I think obviously it depends on the person, but I think you label things really well, and you are Cheryl is very kind and zen-like, and she doesn't share her own personal life, but she lets you know, I've been there, I know how it is, and she's very empathetic. Cheryl is very kind and supportive. Cheryl is the kind of coach that is not intimidating. But at the same time, she says things, but in a very nice way, She don't never feel like put down or somehow somebody's, sometimes we pay coaches that the way they work is like, you're gonna kick my ass. Yes, I'm here because I'm not doing my homework every day, I'm not doing my work, I need somebody to put me in a schedule and kick my ass. And that's the work, and that's what we pay somebody to do that for. And Cheryl is not like that. Cheryl doesn't have that energy. Cheryl has a very zen, inviting, warmth energy. That being said, she gets the job done. So that is for somebody who wants a speedy healing, but at the same time wants to feel loved and supported.